That did not take long for Chelsea to have one of the most exciting 90 minutes of the season. It took us just 2 games in, and Chelsea already back on their bullshit. Today, it was positive bullshit. What a result. Some of the attacking football today, fantastic. Some of the defending, catastrophic. But I'm not going to sit here and whinge. We'll get into that a little bit later. What a day. As the good guy said, the sky is blue. Smoked him in the cut. Everybody, welcome back to the Two Blues podcast, to another live match reaction. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And there is no point, absolutely no point, in me asking anybody who their player of the match was today. Anybody take a guess? Anybody take a guess who the man of the match was today? Anybody? Sell who? Sell me. Sell me, man said. Name me a player in this Chelsea squad in better form than Noni Madueke right now. His form in pre-season, unbelievable. And he has carried that into the start of the season. TSC, you're close. Palmer, honourable mention. I've been quite worried over the last few days, couple of weeks, that Palmer might not, and when I say this lightly, might not live up to the hype and expectation of last year. You know, he is still class, and I still think he's going to have a fantastic season. I do kind of doubt whether he's going to be able, or did doubt whether he was going to be able to step kind of back into this Chelsea squad immediately and replicate those sort of numbers. It was kind of a freak one-off season in that sense, but yeah, back to it today. He looked a little bit off in the Man City game. You know, looked like he hadn't, looked like the situation as it was. Looked like he hadn't been with the squad very long. Hadn't, got straight back up to speed, straight back into gear kind of after the Euros. And it's taken him 180 minutes and he is back. Cole Palmer is back cooking. A goal, I think it was a goal to assist today. What a finish for that goal. But I just want to say, Nicholas Jackson, the assist for that Palmer goal was almost as good, if not better, than the finish. I thought Nicholas Jackson today, while he still had those frustrating moments, we've got to remember 12 months ago, Nicholas Jackson was just having these frustrating moments. Today, Nicholas Jackson's having those frustrating moments. He's also scoring a crucial goal. He's also providing world-class assists. He's also back in the link-up play, back in the build-up play. The thing that I liked about Nicholas Jackson the most when he first joined the club was how he brought other players into the game, was how he linked up with players like Mudryk, like Enzo, like Palmer. And yeah, he showed again elements of that today. I think he's got so much potential, so much class. And I've said it time and again, if we don't go out and sign a striker this summer, I am not mad. I think Nicholas Jackson and Christopher Nkunku, and now João Felix between them, but even just Jackson and Nkunku, have more than enough to be able to hold down a number 9 position. And again, yes, a lot of things, Jackson did frustrated the fans today, but on the whole, I think another excellent performance, a goal, an assist, crucial in what was, as Darren says, a very nervy first half. That first half, and it's quite interesting. It really was a game of two halves. I had a lot of conversation. I had a lot of arguments. I was going to say conversations, just straight disagreements. I was sitting there with my 2 brothers and my dad watching the game, 4 of us, and I disagreed with 2 of them on the majority of occasions. I was backing Nicholas Jackson. A lot of what he did, I was praising. I thought he had a lot of hope, and they're kind of more on the negative side. They just think what he does isn't enough to where he should be. I personally am very, very happy with Nicholas Jackson, but I'm interested to hear what you guys think as well, in terms of his overall performance, and has he improved from 12 months ago? I mean, obviously injury in pre-season, so he's not back to 100% match fitness just yet, but I'd argue his overall game has improved tenfold. I think he will go on and score a fair few goals for Chelsea this season. I think he's going to be a big part of this team. But going back to our man of the matches now, we discussed Palmer, but my man of the match is not Palmer, not by a long stretch. My man of the match is the man who accidentally dug himself out this morning or last night when he put up a story on his official page rather than his burner saying Wolverhampton is a shithole. He was right. Wolverhampton is a shithole. And he got a fair amount of stick for it today from the Wolves fans. But my God, did he do what he needed to do? What was that? His first hat-trick in a Chelsea shirt. And he scored 3 goals in 15 minutes. Finished with the left foot, finished with the right foot. The geezer is balling out. There is not a single player in this Chelsea squad. The 45 players that we have on the books at the moment that is in better form than Noni Madueke. I think in pre-season, he showed us why he deserves a chance to start in this team. I think he has been the one that's applied himself. We've got a lot of talented young forwards, a lot of talented young wingers. Mykhailo Mudryk, I'd put last season in a fairly similar position to Noni Madueke, in that a lot of potential, a lot of raw talent, just needs to really work on his decision making. And I think that Madueke has gone out and done that. Madueke, I mean, we already saw last season he was training with an individual coach. He was taking it upon himself to improve himself, to do better and to contribute more to this Chelsea team. He knew that he wasn't contributing what he was capable of and what he is able of. Today, I mean, the fact that and I've always maintained he is in this squad, he's the best dribbler. He is the best player in one-on-one situations because of how confident he is and because he always wants to take his man on. He might not be the most skillful player in this team. I think probably Christopher Nkunku, Pedro Neto probably got a little bit more tech than, what's his name? I've blanked. Than Madueke. I've completely blanked now. I can't believe it. I think there are a couple of players in this Chelsea side, technically, footwork, technical ability, probably better than Madueke. But in terms of his confidence, his directness, his ability and willingness to go at his man, to beat his man every single time, is top class. And we saw a lot of times last year, his trademark, akin to Saka, Robben, you've got those left-footed wingers play on the right and they just love to come in and pearl it in the far corner. And Noni Madueke has that potential. But a lot of time last season, we thought, he could utilize going on the right more. When he does, his delivery wasn't as good, but he seems confident as anybody going down the right side anymore. Obviously, a fantastic goal, helped by a beautiful assist, from Enzo Fernandez in midweek, but a fantastic goal on his right, on his weak foot in midweek against Servette, and then another brilliant goal today on his right foot. He's shown that he is able to do it with his left, with his right. And I think nobody deserves it more than Noni Madueke right now. I think Madueke, like I said, best form at the moment. He's the player in the best form in this Chelsea squad. I think we'd be silly. It's very, very difficult because I looked at that first team and I'm thinking, why is Nkunku not starting? Why are you starting Mudryk? You've got Pedro Neto on the bench, João Felix on the bench, so much quality. But Madueke can't be dropped. Akin to Lavia, there might be players that are, on the face of it, when you look at them, probably better players. But right now, the form he's in, the way he's playing, he's undroppable. Again, you've got to play him in midweek. He's got to go out there and score at Servette. And he's got to play against Palace next week. There is no way that Noni Madueke is not one of the first names on this team sheet at the moment. And it'd be interesting to see what the extent of Romeo Lavia's injury is. 2 games in, already injured, not great. Maresca did say it was just a minor issue, did say it was just a little hamstring niggle, wasn't anything serious. But it remains to be seen. We will, I suppose, get a full diagnosis over the next couple of days. But Madueke, a player that I think definitely while he's in this form, we should be just giving him as many minutes as possible, giving him as much as he wants. Maresca's come out in public and said, Noni Madueke, I have no doubts on his talent. Fantastic player, brilliant ability, but he needs to work harder in training. He needs to be more consistent behind closed doors. And you do kind of get that era of that kind of aura of arrogance from him. But the fact that he can back it up, I've never doubted. I've always, we love a humble player. We love a player that is very, very grounded. And I do feel like there is that element to him. But I do also feel like Noni Madueke knows how good he is and how much talent he has and how good he could be. And I think with the right, it's very similar to Mudryk, with the right system, with the right man management, with the right manager, keeping him on his toes, keeping him in line. He's got to be bang on top of Madueke. He cannot be giving him too much leeway to kind of do what he wants. He needs to be a disciplinarian. And if he continues playing like this, no reason why Madueke isn't our starting right winger. Cole Palmer has got to be shifted into the middle because Cole Palmer doesn't offer as much from a wide position, distribution, finishing. Cole Palmer is clear. I'm not saying that Cole Palmer is not as good as Madueke. He's obviously far better and far more instrumental. But at the same time, you can put Palmer in the number 10. You can't really take Madueke out that right wing. On the right side, I think Madueke is a top option and fantastic performance from him today. Pretty close to 10 out of 10. I'd have to give him a 9 because I don't believe in the perfect score unless your name's Esteban Willian last night with 2 goals and 2 assists off the back of that Brazil call-up. But Madueke today, as close to a 10 as we've seen, well, so far in Maresca's brief stint. And yeah, there's no way that he is not a starter for me Thursday next week against Crystal Palace. He has got to be in the team. But Palmer as well. Like I said, I was kind of a little bit skeptical and kind of said, I don't think, while I think he's still going to cook, still fantastic player, I don't think we're going to see a massive drop off. I think the numbers, in terms of the numbers he did last season, I didn't know if he was going to be able to replicate that. I think he's got a lot to live up to, and it's expectation and weight that we should not be piling on his shoulders. That being said, top performance today. I think there's one or two occasions where he looks for the $1 million ball where he could just play the simple pass, but it's because he knows he's got that in his locker. And also he knows 9 times out of 10, he can pull that off. Cole Palmer is that guy. He is that good. We've seen it for Chelsea. We've now seen it for England. We've seen it for Man City. He is able to fit into these top teams. And it was a thing of beauty. It was a joy to watch with Pedro Neto, Palmer and Kunku, Felix. That Felix goal, I was standing up applauding 30 seconds before the ball went into the net. It was effortless. It was so easy, and just the Chelsea players knowing where they need to be, knowing where each other are, that hive mind mentality that you look at this, Man City team, every player knows their specific function. Every player knows what they have to do. Chelsea, 10, 15 years ago, were at that stage. Even you look a few years ago when we were a number 9 away from being a top team, we had our roles, our functions all mapped out. And it was very plug and play. You had individuals who served certain roles, certain purposes, but you had players like N'Golo Kante, Jorginho that were able to mop up, that were able to, give you a little bit more leeway, a little bit more freedom. And this Chelsea side, I definitely see that in the attack. I definitely see a dominated, a free flowing. If we can solidify, if we can keep Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia all fit, keep them in the midfield, and then you've got Neto, João Felix, Jackson and Kunku, Palmer, Madueke, Mudryk. I think we have so much talent going forward that we are able to have a big season this year. I think a lot of people are underestimating us. And even today, talking to my family who were very critical again of Chelsea, particularly in the first half. And I'm sitting there thinking, look, the game's very open. And I know that we are, dreadful at the back. I think Levi, Colwell and Fofana have got to pattern up ASAP. They've got to sort it out between them. The partnership is diabolical. They look like they're playing against each other. And you see with Arsenal, again, another conversation I had today, Saliba, world-class centre-back, probably one of, if not the best centre-back in the Premier League right now. I don't rate Gabriel. I think Saliba makes Gabriel look so much better than he is. And that kind of element of when you're playing together, the sum of the parts can equal more than the individual parts. And Levi Colwell and Wesley Fofana at the moment look like, they're playing for different teams. They're playing against one another. They don't look like they're on the same wavelength. And I do think that is a big, big problem. The marking today, how we have spent, 10 million on a set piece coach? I'm going to need to see that brother's credentials. I'm going to need to see that guy's CV. Because if we're paying 10 million for a set piece coach, we should not be conceding. Was it 2 goals from set pieces today? And then 2 more offside goals or 1 more offside goal? I couldn't believe the lack of the marking at the back. Every time we defend a set piece, we're at 1s and 2s. We've got Enzo Fernandez, marking the centre forward, Cucurella marking the biggest player on the pitch. Their centre backs are always free. I think the Chelsea marking is diabolical. And that needs to change. The defensive instability is what worries me most. Even when we are fairly confident and clean today, at 5-2, I'm thinking this Chelsea side should wipe the floor. This should be shut up shop. You just keep the ball, play a possession game, manage the game. And then we go and concede another goal, albeit offside, another goal from set piece. And it's 5-3. And we're thinking, hang on a minute, 20 minutes here. This is we've got another game on our hands. And this Chelsea side, number one, we need to go out and kill the game. And I'm really glad that we got 6 goals on the score sheet, because when was the last time that we scored 6 goals in a Premier League game? When was the last time that we were this dominant and we were this clinical in the final third? To have, I think it was 10 shots or 12 shots and 6 goals, extremely clinical, 50% conversion rate on the day, absolutely phenomenal. And we probably could have had a couple more. Having João Felix, the João Felix finish, I think he's going to add a different dimension to this Chelsea side. I think he's got that instinctive finisher in him. I think he's got that poacher, that nowhere to be at the right place at the right time, that just instinctual, habitual striker, that number 9, Fox in the box. I think he has the prowess. He has that that element to his game that Nicholas Jackson lacks. I don't think Nicholas Jackson lacks talent. I think he's got a lot of talent, but it's just his decision making and, knowing where, his awareness, knowing where people are around him, knowing when to lay the ball off, when to take it on his own. João Felix, however, I feel like that is just intuitive. He doesn't need to think. Go back to when in his first stint under Potter, Lampard. He scored some quality goals. And again today, the finish was sublime. An absolutely brilliant ball back from Neto, but brilliant finish from João Felix. I cannot believe some of the footwork today. I can't believe there were people complaining and saying that we didn't need João Felix. He was a silly buy, not a great depth option. He was quality when he came on today. And the one thing that he's, mainly criticised for is his work rate, his defensive work off the ball. So he doesn't really have the fire in his belly, doesn't have that element to him. He does for Chelsea. We were pressing, and my brother said this, I've got to give him credit. We were pressing when we were 6-2 up. We were pressing in the 90th minute, and that's something we don't see from Chelsea teams. We don't see that they smelt blood today, and they wanted to score. Every single player in that front three in that midfield wanted to get on the score sheet today, and I don't blame them. That is what I want to see from Chelsea. Not necessarily being selfish and just taking on chances that he shouldn't be. Madueke had a couple in the last 5-10 minutes that he probably could have laid off for a little 1-2 or someone else in a better position. But because he'd already got 3, he went for it. When we're 6-2 up, I don't really mind that. But at the same time, if those moments happen in the bigger games when it is 0-0, 1-0, we're going to rue those opportunities that we do miss. The selfishness, we have to be thinking about the greater good at all time. And today, like I said, we could have run away with it and gone 7-8-2. We could have made a real statement performance today. But I do think, on the face of it, that is about as statement as we are going to get. Like I said, defense still, I've got a lot of issues. And although he didn't do too badly, too many hospital balls today, Sanchez, again, I don't feel safe with Sanchez in goal. When he's on the ball, I'm up. I'm holding the arms on my seat. My bum cheeks are clenched. I do not like watching Robert Sanchez in goal for Chelsea. And I do think there are a couple of changes. Defense just needs to be solidified. And I don't know whether personnel is the right option, because obviously Malo Gusto, he's got one more game in the Premier League before Reece James comes back into contention if he's fit and available. Cucurella, I don't see him being ousted. Obviously, Renato Vega is our backup for that position. But the centre-backs, we've got Disasi and Badiashile, definitely not. And I love Badiashile, but at the moment, definitely not a starter. But Disasi, Tosin, they could argue, that there is an argument for a change in that centre-half partnership. And I do think, if you look at the books, Levi Colwill, Fofana, probably the best long-term partnership for future. And I do think we need to gel them in and bed them in together. And they need to play as much time, as many games, as many minutes as possible together so that they can solidify that partnership. But at the same time, it's a ruthless game. It's a cutthroat industry. And if we go kind of 3-4 more games making these silly mistakes at the back, like I said, games of small margins like the Man City game, with a solid centre-back pairing, we come out of that with a point or maybe 3 points. So I do see potential for a swap or potential for a move in centre-back. But on the whole today, I'm fairly complaint-free. Mudryk, would have been nice to see him in the second half because I think the game was very open. I think this was the kind of game that he can do well. But I feel the frustration, Stamford Bridge on Thursday, incredibly frustrated with Mudryk. A lot of the fans, I think again today, the manager was probably quite frustrated with him because we see what he can do in training. We see the way he wraps his foot around the ball, scores absolute pearlers in training. His touch looks great. His awareness, his decision-making looks so much better. But when he's on the pitch, it's very much a deer in headlights. You give him the ball and you think, shit, what do I do? I think he should, be more of a Sterling player, kick it and run, go down the line. You've got the pace, utilize it, put the ball in the box. But, we saw him again on the left today. I'd like to see him on the right. I know that means that you'd probably have to switch Madueke or Palmer or whoever over, but I would like to see him on the right at some point. Maybe Servette, in midweek is the best option for that. But yeah, Mudryk, I've said it in my short that I'll put out tomorrow. It's touch and go. This is very make or break season for Mudryk. He needs to put in performances. And like I said, when Madueke is in the form of his life, the best form of this Chelsea squad at the moment, Mudryk's got to be looking at that and going, I've got to replicate that. That's the standard, essentially, that I've got to hold myself to as a bare minimum. Realistically, he's double the price tag. He should be putting out double the output of Madueke. But we know that's not realistic. We know that price tag was inflated for multiple reasons, mainly because we just bought him just so Arsenal couldn't. But Mudryk needs to do a lot more. And in a game like today that's very open, I know he only had 45 minutes and it very much opened up in the second half, but I do want to see a little bit more from Mykhailo Mudryk. And in Caicedo, ideally I would have had Lavia in there today. So yeah, interested to hear the extent of this Lavia injury. But yeah, Caicedo, I think Enzo was pretty solid today. Again, Enzo, I don't like it when he plays a bit higher. I think he's so much better deeper, dictating the game when he can, choose the tempo. He's the one to kind of get the attack started and to, well, yeah, like I said, dictate a little bit more, to orchestrate from deep. But I think he was a little bit better today. It does just kind of, the fact that we've sent out Ugo Chukwu, Santos, we've got Casadei potentially looking at a move out, Chukwuemeka, potentially on the way out this week. I do kind of look at that centre midfield option as that we've got so many players. We sent them all out on loan, and I can't believe we're saying this, but we're a little bit light on depth in the centre midfield. When Lavia's not in there, we got Dewsbury Hall to bring on as the only option, and I really don't like Dewsbury Hall. I think he's the wrong sort of player. I haven't been impressed so far with what I've seen, and that is semi-personal agenda, but at the same time, I just don't think on the face of it, he hasn't passed the eye test for me. I don't think he's the great option to have. And if and when we are in a big game and we've only got Enzo and Caicedo, Lavia's not an option off the bench, and one of those two gets injured like they do today, are we really trusting Kieran Dewsbury Hall, in that centre midfield to battle it out against the top team? I wouldn't trust him against a top midfielder like Rodri, De Bruyne. It's Declan Rice even. I would struggle to advocate that and to say, look, he's a good option off the bench. I think we do need someone with a little bit more quality on the ball, akin to Carney Chukwuemeka. I personally would not freeze him out of this squad. I think he should be involved. But yeah, man, today is a day of positives. We're not going to look at the negatives. We're not going to talk negatives, apart from the centre-backs and apart from the defensive mistakes, the marking at the back. We've been through all of that. I don't want to talk about this. We won 2-0 in midweek, and every Chelsea fan was miserable about it, saying we should have walloped him, we should have done better, it wasn't good enough, wasn't fast enough. Is 6 goals enough for you? 6 goals? Arsenal, City, United, Liverpool fans? I mean, we've scored more than anybody else in the Premier League, if I'm not mistaken. No, I am mistaken. City have got 6 goals as well. Shit. All right, no one scored 6 in a single game yet. We're coming, man. This front four, this front 5, Neto, Felix, and Kunku didn't even play, didn't even cook today. Palmer, Neto, Jackson, Madueke, the quality on these players, and we'll finish, because I don't want to keep this going too long, but we'll finish on Madueke, just kind of full 360 from where we started. How has this guy improved so much? I'm honestly, I rate him, and I've been rating him for so long. If anybody watching right now, has watched me for a long time, make sure, by the way, to like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, guys. But if anybody is watching that has watched me for a long time, back me up. I have always maintained Madueke has so much talent. Never wanted him to leave. And these rumors of him leaving in the last couple of weeks, the fact that he celebrated that goal, sell who? Sell me. The fact that he's putting out performances like he is today, the fact that he is just building, cooking. He's improving himself off the pitch. He's improving himself on the pitch. He knows what he has to do. He's taking it upon himself to improve and get to the level that he knows he can. He has so much talent, so much potential. And I'm really glad that he's starting to fulfill it. I think he's the most ambipedal of the wingers that we've got, the best on either foot. The fact that he can do that, he's mastered the cutting on the left, but he's also nailed that going down the right and putting the ball in the box on his right now. He's nailed it. And I'm again, like Darren said, nervy first half. So it's a little bit, there's still work to be done. But that second 45 minutes, virtually, in their half anyway, flawless. The defense needs a lot of work, a lot of communication, cohesion. There's a lot of assimilating still to do in that back four, but I'm hopeful that Reece James will tidy it up a little bit, maybe secure it up in the centre half and provide a little bit more experience, leadership. Maybe we do need a Tosin, a Disasi to kind of sit alongside one of the younger players like Colwill and give them, marshal them a little bit, akin to kind of Thiago Silva last season. We saw the impact that he had on players like Trevor Chalobah. So it would be nice to see one of those Chelsea defenders kind of taking the reins, taking the mantle of that leader for themselves and kind of dishing out all the experience and the expertise to the youngsters. But I think this team, and I discussed in the second half with my family, I was saying the way that a lot of Chelsea fans speak about this team and how critical and how skeptical we are, you wouldn't have thought they were Chelsea fans. But today, you know, I don't think anybody can have very much to be upset about, particularly, like I said, in the Wolves half, in the final third. You know, we have come from a Chelsea side 2-3 seasons ago whose top scorer was Jorginho with 8 penalties. We didn't have a single player on this squad in double figures. I see 4, 5, maybe 6 players getting double figures this season for Chelsea. With the amount of talent in that front 3, 4 positions, we are stacked. Absolutely stacked. Lemon, long time no see, my bro. Only back when the Chelsea's cooking. Weren't in the cut yesterday when Villa were getting battered. Everyone, make sure to go and drop a like on this video, by the way, guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing the giveaway that I've been promising very, very soon. It was streamed. I don't think it was streamed on anything, mate. I had to watch it on the IPTV. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, Abdi. Thanks for tuning in, my broski. The lad was hungry for goals today. Yeah, I think he knew as well. As Lemon said, he put up that Instagram story. He knew he was going to get booed. He knew he had to put out performance today, because if he didn't, he was going to get cooked on social media and by the fans. He knew he had to perform today. But that Madueke performance, 10 out of 10. Beautiful. I think he's so close to being the finished article. I think he'd obviously a little bit of work on his decision-making final third, but today, can't complain. That was, you know, to a T, brother. Yeah, appreciate you joining, Nugger. Go get good centre back. We've just been discussing it. I think that's the one area that Chelsea need to kind of pattern up. And I don't think necessarily it needs new personnel. I think Levi Colwill and Fofana are both class. I've got a lot of stock in Colwill, even though he hasn't been as impressive as, you know, we would have liked to see. We haven't really seen the progression. We haven't seen the same Colwill that was on loan at Brighton, essentially. But we're getting there. And again, yeah, today I'm not going to sit here and complain. 6 goals, 6-2 win. First win on the board for Enzo Maresca. Confidence. 2 out of 3 wins, and the only loss was Man City. We got Servette in midweek, Palace next week. You know, that's 4 wins out of 5 I'm looking at. We've got a very friendly run. We've got a very nice run of Premier League games. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to build up a little run of form, little run of confidence with these individuals and with the team. And by Christmas, you know, who's to say we can't be competing for top 4 and you know, swinging dicks for the big dogs? Because Liverpool, I'm not convinced they're going to do bits this season. I think Arsenal, while they will still maintain and be a high level, I don't think they've improved their team on last season. They haven't gone out and got a striker, and I don't think they're going to have the longevity with Havertz and Jesus. I think Chelsea could well be in the mix if we pattern up at the back, if we let our front third do the talking, and if we just shut up shop at the back. Because if we perform like this defensively against City, Arsenal, Liverpool, even United, we'll get cooked. But Spurs, you know, if we play like that against Son, Solanke, Kulusevski, they're going to score 3-4 goals. Let's be honest, you know, they probably did deserve that 3rd goal today, Wolves, and we are just not. Our marking's dreadful. The communication at the back's diabolical from set pieces. It's horrible stuff to watch. It's Sunday League level, but I think Chelsea have enough at the moment going forward to kind of overbalance that. And it's a case of if, you know, it's not a case of, well, it is a case of if, but if and when we do sort that back 4 out and are able to, like I said, shut up shop, really kind of knuckle down on the discipline at the back, I think this Chelsea side could build. And I was saying today, you know, stop being so depressed about where we are and where we've been over the last 2 clubs, and having conversations with my family where I'm having to justify when I say Chelsea are the biggest team in London. That's not a conversation, bro. We are the biggest team in London by a long stretch, have been. We will win the next we will win another Champions League. We will win our 3rd Champions League before Arsenal ever win the Champions League. We will win our 3rd Champions League before Tottenham win a single Premier League or a single meaningful trophy. I'm not going to count domestic cups, because at the end of the day, anybody can go out and have a cup run. But a serious trophy like a Premier League or a Champions League, Chelsea are very much still in the running. With the talent that we have, we just need to make it click. And today we saw what happens when it does click. And I think we have, like I said, so many individuals there, so much potential. This team just needs to learn how to play consistently as a team. London is and will always be blue. Appreciate everybody that's joined. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, guys. I think there's 27, 30 people watching at the moment. Make sure to like, please. Drop us a like. It really helps YouTube, really helps the algorithm. We're really trying to build on the monetization this year. This season is our season. If you want to see live match reactions, I'll be doing live match reactions for every single Chelsea game this season. I will be trying to get to a few of them, a few more than I did last season. So a couple might be delayed, but when I'm watching from home, away games, live match reaction on the final whistle, come to this channel. We will be here. More often than not, we'll be doing live match previews as well. Hopefully a couple watch-alongs in there. There is a lot of content to come from this channel this year. We're going to be working on a schedule, on a framework to get regular episodes out for you. Transfer talk episode this week. We're going to be doing a big live stream on transfer deadline day. Loan watch. Episodes throughout the week, throughout the season. We're going to be dropping 3, 4, every single week. So guys, please make sure to lock in, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe to the channel, you are going to be in with a chance of winning a free Chelsea training shirt, which I will release on a stream very, very soon. I'm going to be picking 1 subscriber. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel. That is it. You don't have to like, you don't have to comment, you don't have to tag nobody. You don't have to even tell your friends. Just subscribe to this channel to be in with a chance of winning a free Chelsea training shirt from last season worth £40. But anyway, that is enough from me. I've been waffling for far too long. I need to go and do a short. Catch me on the TikTok at 2 Blues Podcast, on the Instagram as well.